Hello, we are here with Ms. Dean Hoepfl from Peer2Peer.
Yeah, we're going to be interviewing him and asking some questions.
Yeah. Okay, so first question, I guess.
Who are you guys? Who's interviewing me?
Oh, right, you're
Oh
so
my
right. I'm Sarah. I'm a freshman.
I'm Zoe. I'm also a freshman.
Okay, first question. How did you end up working at Pingree?
My experience coming to Pingree was an interesting one. We ended up here 5 years ago. This is the end of year 5. My wife actually was hired here first, originally as essentially like the faculty staff wellness person, and she would open the gym at like 5 a.m. We came out here from Oregon. I was an athletic director out there. I started here as a permanent sub that year.
Wow.
And then
Wait, I had no idea.
Yep, I was a permanent sub my first year. My second year, I taught full time, taught economics and history, and then the third year I became dean, and here we are.
Wow.
So I know you're a teacher. You're also my history teacher. What do you think is your teaching philosophy, if you would say that you have one?
I definitely have one. I would say it's twofold. I mean, I think there's the academic side of it, and then the more classroom experience side of it. When you're thinking of teaching philosophies, I think the most important thing in the classroom is keeping the information compacted in a way that the kids stay invested in listening. I think 70 minutes, while not a long time, can feel like a long time, especially when you're sitting through 4 classes a day and you have
definitely.
7 different classes. So my philosophy is certainly to have fun and make jokes and try to keep it lively and entertaining for the students so that they actually listen to the learning. And then 2, I think, especially from history and being a history teacher, I think with the content itself, it's always trying to tie things back to how it applies to the world that they're currently viewing and seeing and experiencing. So that history doesn't feel like it's something that's just happened in the past, but is still a part of what they're experiencing and living through every day today.
Cool. So you're talking about like you keep the classroom like fun and interesting. Do you have any
There are a lot of jokes.
Yeah. Do you have any like standout moments or like anything like amusing memories or like the craziest things that ever happened to you at Pingree that like has specifically like stood out to you?
No, I mean, I don't know if there's one specific moment that stands out as that, but certainly, as Zoe mentioned, we try to keep it lively. I think, in general, that leads to a lot of funny moments. I think when you're doing this job, there's you don't ever want to tell specific moments and these kind of things because it's kids and they do silly things and you don't always want to share that. But I think in general the thing that I've enjoyed the most is when you can start to get kids to see how it all ties together to what they're currently experiencing. But also, like I love John Green. Anytime we can get a nice crash course in and get some nice laughs with our guy, that's always good as well.
So I know that you've been to Pingree for a bit, but how do you think Pingree has changed you since you've been here?
I mean, I've changed. Substantially since coming to Pingree. It's such a different world than what I grew up in. I grew up in rural Oregon in a town of 5,000 people. Oh, wow. I grew up in very much farmland and farm country and, in just a world that is about as opposite from what Pingree is as you could possibly experience. I'll never forget my first day here, the year I was a permanent sub. Was an assembly and they had taiko drumming happening, and I'm like, wait, what is happening? Like, this is amazing. These kids are playing like
taiko drumming.
I love taiko drumming, but just to go from where I was before to where what the options and opportunities are here. I mean, the kind of speakers we get, the kind of opportunities to have. The fact that I'm sitting in a podcasting studio at the school I work at,
that's crazy.
is absurd, but awesome, right? Like it's so cool to be in a place that really, if you dream it, you can do it. The kids here are obviously exceptional, and I think we often get caught up in the grind of Pingree and in the stress, but there's a lot of really amazing kids and things happening here. And it's just made me more appreciative of both independent school education, of kind of the opportunities in this part of the country, and also just also makes me in a lot of ways be nostalgic and excited about a lot of things I got experienced as a kid. I grew up in a town where literally everybody knew who I was. I walked in the grocery store and they knew who I was, right? I walked into a restaurant and they knew my family. There's a local newspaper. You're in the local newspaper, right? There's like a lot of really cool small town things that are obviously very different than growing up in Somerset County, which is this incredibly populous, incredibly vibrant place. And there's awesome parts of that too. But I think living in both areas has given me a cool perspective on kind of how things work and the way the world works, and the pros and cons of both.
So how'd you say that you ended up from like all the way from like your like small town like to here, like New Jersey?
I married well. I mean, that's really it. I mean, I met my wife at a summer camp that we both worked at, and we did long distance. And then she moved out to Oregon and worked in the school district. I worked out there. And we have 2 little boys. And, when she was pregnant with our second, she wanted to get closer to home. And that summer, right after we had Charlie, we moved out here. He was like 2 months old when we moved out. She just wanted to be closer to family. She's from Philly. She grew up in the Philly area. And so we wanted to get closer. This is where we ended up. It's been a really, really great place to be. But I certainly wouldn't be in the East Coast, probably not outside of Oregon if I hadn't met Jess.
Nice.
So if you could we know that you're a teacher and we know that you're a dean and you're doing all of this stuff, but if you could do something outside of being a teacher, what would it be?
I mean, outside of what I already do, like coaching and stuff. Yeah. I mean, I think, if you're saying like outside of Pingree, my dream job growing up was certainly to be in esports. I think I could see that. My wife actually asked me this question like 2 days ago. She's like, if you had it all to do over again, I'm like, I would have went harder into gaming. My parents like certainly talked me out of it because it wasn't like super fashionable in the early 2000s and late 90s. But I grew up playing, in big Halo tournaments and all these other things. And all these people in that time period are now like multimillionaires who own like, gaming companies and like, all the teams that are playing in LoL. Like I grew up playing in games with those guys. And I'm like, man, I should have just leaned into like a Twitch stream. I could be like retired in like LA right now, running like, I don't know, Hoepfl gaming company or something sweet.
That'd be awesome.
That's my dream that I feel like I dropped the ball, and now it's so oversaturated. It's much harder to get into, but I grew up in like the perfect time to have jumped into it. And I just was like, this is not a realistic choice.
So if you could go like back in time, you tell your younger self like...
I would tell myself to stay up later playing video games and really lean into my marketing ability, which I don't know if is good advice for high school students, but that's what I would have done differently. I think the other option that I always think about is if, instead of going into teaching kind of as my full focus, going into coaching. I love coaching. It's probably my favorite part of my job. Potentially going into like college coaching would have been fun. I think overconfidence is the wrong word, but I'm very confident in my ability. And I think that I could have done just about anything and been pretty good at it. I don't think I would have enjoyed like a few things, but like I think I could have been a lawyer, but I would think the work's too much. Yeah. Like the hours,
a lot of work.
Like I enjoy having a kind of a set schedule. Same with being a doctor. Like those things seem too much to me. I want to lean more into fun. Maybe like a food taster. That would be a dream job for me as well.
Like the great food experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Like how do I get on to like Discovery Channel and just eat food for a living?
That sounds perfect.
I know. I mean, I really can't think of anything I would enjoy more than someone paying me to like fly to Italy and eat food. So that'd be option 3.
Nice. Very nice. Do you still play video games? Is that still a thing that you like doing?
Oh yeah. I play tons of video games.
Nice. Okay, so like this kind of segues like your hobbies, like what's your like favorite song, like show, book? Like what do you do in your spare time besides video
things
games?
that you're passionate about?
Great questions. I mean, obviously, the thing that the answer for everybody's family. Like my family is obviously the most important thing in my life. I spend the majority of my time with my kids and my wife. But from a hobby standpoint, I obviously love gaming. I love computer gaming. I still play with a lot of my friends I grew up with. It's a great way to stay in touch. I love reading. I love reading fantasy books. Game of Thrones is the book that everybody knows kind of in that genre, but there's so much good stuff in that genre. I usually read, I don't know, probably like 25, 30 of those kind of books a year. They're pretty thick.
Oh, wow.
500 plus page books. Those are really, really good. It's awesome. My brain likes to escape to a different world and kind of see what that's all about. other hobbies. I love cooking. I love barbecuing. I love cooking outdoors. I like being outdoors. And then sports. I mean, sports have kind of been the backbone of everything I've done. I was an athletic director before. I still coach. Before I became dean, I was still coaching baseball here. Both watching and enjoying sports, especially, Oregon. Obviously, I say go Ducks all the time. But also I love the Suns, and we're in a tough playoff push right now. Had a terrible loss a couple nights ago. I love all those things. I'm pretty invested in a lot of things. I play Magic the Gathering with a group from Pingree. I like a lot of different things.
That's
so
really
cool.
interesting. That's actually a dream of mine, to just sit down and read like a 300-page book and not get sidetracked and like not.
That's what the weekend's for. Get a nice chair, get a nice little fire going.
One day when I don't have work, just.
Exactly.
I mean, you don't have work right now. Right now is the time you don't have work. It only gets more busy from here. It only gets more busy from here.
Oh no.
So another interesting question, now that we're on a podcast, do you have any hidden talents that you would like to share with us?
I don't really think I have any hidden talents. I'm pretty much an open book. I'm really good at video games, but like that's not hidden. People who know me know that I'm really good at video games. But I can't do a lot of like really basic level skills that a lot of people can. Like my drawing skill cap is stick figures. I don't do anything. I'm not an awesome whistler like Mr. Winston. I'm not like, I can't sing at all. My wife tells me to stop singing in the car.
What?
Like, even if I know all the words, she's like, you're really ruining the song. I don't really have any hidden talents. They're all pretty much what it is. I'm good at sports. I'm good at video games.
Sports.
I'm good at eating.
That's pretty good.
I'm a decent cook. That's about
talent
it.
right there.
Okay. Veering back a little bit to school, Pingree. So like what qualities do you value in students?
I think two things. I think curiosity is a thing that both Pingree students have in spades, and also I think they limit a lot because they're so focused on what the next checkbox is at times, to get to whatever the next checkbox is, right? And so I think curiosity, but and from that, just the desire and joy and enjoying the journey along the way in high school. I look back at high school as one of my fondest times of my life, and I had so many great experiences. And I certainly enjoyed it, but I wish I had enjoyed it more, and kind of just the freedom and the opportunity to have this kind of closed group of people that you're going to spend 4 years with. Or, I grew up in a small town. Most of those kids were in kindergarten with me. So I had this group of 150 kids that I grew up with. And I've seen them almost 0 times since then. And so just that enjoying the ride, that curiosity of everything, not just academically, but of life. And then I think too, once you figure out what you love, I love a kid who figures out how to do that for real. And kind of, I guess the expression is put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? Right? Like, not just be like, I want to be the best gamer. I want to be the best bowler, right? I want to be the best whatever, but the people who actually structure their life, their habits, their things to achieve those things.
So like they like video games, they stay up late playing video games, and they're really committed to that.
I'm not advocating staying up past your bedtime, children, but please go to bed, especially as a parent now. But I think I like people that do what they say they're going to do. It's probably I like integrity. I like people that follow through. I like people that follow through more than probably anything. And so, hey, if you say you want to be the best basketball player, like get up at 6 a.m. in the morning and get in the gym and get in the weight room and get shots up and get the diet going and do all those things. Or don't say you want to be the best basketball player. Right. And I'm totally fine with that, right? Say you want to be the best flutist, right? Or say, I don't really know what my passion is yet. I'm just going to explore everything, right? I think it's just, I like genuine people. I like people that do what they say they're going to do. In really any field. I don't really care what that is. Like, find something you love, pursue it really, really hard, and be passionate about it.
Yeah.
That's so real.
This next question might be a little controversial, but do you have any favorite students or favorite group of students?
Yeah, my favorite student's Grayson Hoepfl. He starts in kindergarten next year.
Okay. Okay, to wrap it up, so what piece of advice would you give to Pingree students?
Could be for the future, right now. getting ready for
I mean,
the next steps.
I would think it just goes back to what we just said, right?
Yeah.
One, be curious, explore, enjoy the moment where you are, and all the unbelievable opportunities like what we're doing right now. But once you kind of hone in and figure out what you like, do it for real, and don't have any regrets. And that may mean you don't end up as good or as successful as you want to in it, but don't have it be because you didn't go all in.
Yeah, like as long as you're happy.
Also, my favorite thing to tell families, and I'll certainly say it here, is stress less about the college process. Look at the board outside of the college counseling office. Throw a dart. You can't hit a school that's not a great school. And so everyone gets so worked up and worried about like what class I'm taking and how it's going to get me to a college. There's not one school up there that isn't much better than the college I went to. And so, I think there's too much worrying about check boxes, too much worrying about those things. Just be genuine, love something, do it for real. And you're going to end up in a place that you should be really, really proud of.
That's great advice. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you for
Absolutely.
sitting down with us on this podcast. Really appreciate it and all your answers to our questions.
No problem. You guys have a great day.
You too. Thank you.